Hello YouTube, Poketch here, and today we're going to talk about games that should be ported or remade for the Switch in some kind of way. This will include Nintendo games and third-party games.
That's correct.
And our first game is Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. We get that like Paper Mario 64 is being already got put into Nintendo Switch Online, so GameCube games, a GameCube game has been put, Super Mario Sunshine, as part of that collection of 3D Mario games. So I think that now we should have more GameCube games ported into the Switch in some way. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was on the GameCube, so...
And Wii, right?
No, that's Super Paper Mario.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Whoops.
That should get ported because it's considered like the best Paper Mario game.
It also has a high price point, so if you don't want people to be emulating or whatever, like...
Yeah, to prevent emulation, because the price of the game itself on the market is insane. This would be a great game to be ported, especially now that people got their chance to play the 64 one, so the sequel will be also great.
Well, that, and there's also isn't there like a Paper Mario for the Switch, so...
Yeah. So more Paper Mario content. Second one on the list will be Mario Galaxy 2.
Because we already got one, so why not 2, right?
Yeah, 1 is also part of that 3D Mario collection, and 2 would just be great to be ported in. I mean, an HD version of Mario Galaxy 2 would be very good.
Yeah, so there's that. This one because we saw it at the game store by us.
Tomodachi Life, yes. So Tomodachi Life is a life simulator game, which there isn't enough of. There's only like Animal Crossing on the Switch, and also Miitopia, which came out around the same time as Tomodachi Life, which is a me-centered game.
And the Miitopia
Miitopia got the port, but not Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Life deserves a port or a remake or something to do with it, because we need more life simulation games.
Speaking of life
Sims, another life simulation game. This one's is third part is EA. Sims has been on pretty much most Nintendo consoles and handhelds, except for Wii U, and
currently the Switch. So it's a missed opportunity, especially because we needed more life sim genre.
Exactly.
There's usually a lot of farming games, but we need more life sim.
Straight up life sim, not that farming, half RPG stuff. Now we're talking like straight up life sim. Think Animal Crossing. So,
and speaking of Animal Crossing, we need some Animal Crossing love, because New Horizons, they're fantastic, but how about people that want to play the old ones? Like, it'd be great to have Animal Forest, that was Japan only,
which was Nintendo 64, because we have the 64 online, or just straight up a port
of the GameCube, which was the one that everyone in North America got.
Or bringing back Wild World in some form,
DS.
which very unlikely because it was a DS game, and they'll probably, if they do remake it, they'll go with the original, some kind of remake of the original. So Animal Crossing coming back, the old school Animal Crossing coming back in some way, will be interesting. Probably very unlikely to happen, but you never know, especially with the N64 emulation stuff. So next game I want to talk about is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, or just the Explorers games themselves. This was on the list, even though I think is going to happen anyways, due to the original Mystery Dungeon games being remade into the Switch, and they did pretty well in terms of reception and sales and things like that. So the next logical conclusion is to get the sequels, which is people consider the best Mystery Dungeon games of all time.
Yep.
This Explorers of Sky, so that masterpiece could be remade with the same engine too. I'm fine with the same engine, the same graphics as the first remake, because that one already looks good, the watercolor kind of aesthetic. So it could definitely work with this new one. I think it might even be secretly in development. We don't know. It could probably be in development by now, but it's still on the list because we haven't heard anything from it.
And currently the original DS version is just a very high price point on it.
Yeah. Not as high, but pretty high.
No, it could be anywhere between 80 to 120. So
no, I've seen it lower in some places.
I've seen it I've seen it personally from between 80 to 120. I don't know where the hell you're looking at, but yeah, it's still fairly high for a DS game. So
Blue Rescue Team, I think, is lower.
Yeah, it is.
But the higher one is Sky. But I think you can get it for like $50-$60 in some places. But
Although,
still, that's pretty high for a DS game. DS
although
games aren't as high as GBA and Game Boy Color.
Although
ironically enough,
the Blue Rescue Team in box I set it for 85.
In box. I'm talking about out of box. Next game I want to talk about is Pokemon Trading Card Game.
We just playing it on the train, right?
Yeah, the Pokemon Trading Card Game on the Game Boy Color is basically like teaching how to. It's basically like a simulator of the trading card game, but there's a kind of like a story in the similar sense of the original Pokemon games where you battle the 8 or 7 gym leader equivalent and challenge the equivalent of the Elite Four and Champion. But the battles are in card form, like they're duels, and it's like the game looks like a Pokemon Game Boy Color game, like you just pass off as that.
The last time I was ported was on a 3DS, so I was
Virtual Console. So it should be on Switch. It could be because of the possible GB and GBA for Nintendo Switch Online. Or a remake of the game entirely with the new cards, especially with the new Pokemania with the cards right now. So
so the cards blew up last year because of I think it was the Paul Brothers, but also just
in general because
people like
people want to make
unboxing.
The unboxing scene, and people want to make some money. So
they were like unavailable and they were high price points. It was insane to be able to get Pokemon cards. You wouldn't be able to find them anywhere. So based on the fact that the card game is hot, and people want to learn about how to play the game, bring
lots
TCG.
of people will be like, I love collecting the games, but don't know how to play. This game basically teaches you how to play. It's a great game.
It's how you learned.
It's how I pretty much learned. Yes. Next game would be Chibi Robo.
I know that it had like a follow-up game in the 3DS, but it didn't do well. But the one on the GameCube actually did fairly well, and it's stuck on the GameCube. And bring it, just bring it to the Switch.
Yeah, Chibi Robo needs some love. It needs to come back. It has been done dirty with the 3DS. It should come back in a real way. Another game that should come back in a real way is Mario Luigi Partners in Time. Alpha Dream has been done. I'm not sure if they shot themselves in the foot or they've been done dirty by Nintendo. I'm not sure about the behind the scenes, but the fact that Superstar Saga got remade. People like general reception was decent, not the best remake, but it was decent. Then they remade Bowser's Inside Story, ended up being one of the worst remakes ever made in Nintendo history, and it was actually worse than the original games themselves. Downgraded quality of life. And the game that deserved the remake the most was Partners in Time. That one was clunky because it was early in the DS age, while Bowser's Inside Story came out late in the DS era. So Partners in Time should have been clearly the one that should have got the remake, and that's the one that got overlooked. And because of this mistake, Alpha Dream went bankrupt. And if Alpha Dream comes back in some way, or Nintendo picks up the Mario Luigi franchise, I think Partners in Time, especially with the GBA, Social Online, Mario Luigi Super Saga will inevitably be ported. Partners in Time itself, the sequel, deserves attention. That game is underrated. It's not the best Mario Luigi game, but it's certainly better than Paper Jam. So, yeah. Next Mario game is another RPG, Super Mario RPG. This game, I am baffled that was not put on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Because it's from the SNES era.
Exactly.
And it was ported to the Wii U.
Exactly. I thought for years that it was put in Nintendo Switch Online. And then when I checked for myself, it wasn't there.
And what are they waiting for?
I was so surprised because this game was on the Wii U. It's from the SNES era and is iconic. And since it was ported before, it's so strange that with the SNES online service, that how did that game not get ported? Like all the classics got ported: Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, all the main SNES games, but Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, but not Super Mario RPG. Other RPGs I'm pretty sure have been ported already. That's so strange, man.
It really baffles.
Yeah, that one is baffling. What is the next team?
Kirby. Well,
Kirby
they don't
what?
have to, but so what it is that Kirby's hot. again, because the latest Kirby title, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, is doing fantastic. And every time that I say that there's a main series, main franchise that gets a game and is very popular,
You start seeing spin-offs and remakes.
right. And then I keep saying, how about the older games in that franchise, like Kirby Air Ride for GameCube, Kirby Squeak Squad for DS. Bring them.
Yeah, I think maybe not Squeak Squad. I don't think that one's ever gonna happen. But
Because
I love Squeak Squad, and the SEG won't get as much recognition like that. But Air Ride, a remake. I think a remake would be better.
That'd be cool.
Because look, we already have a new Kirby spin-off game about like buffet or something. Kirby's Buffet, but
Which I'm excited about. It's coming out on August 17th.
But an Air Ride remake, maybe for next year, would be really good because that would work great on Switch with the online. It's a racing game. That would be a good racing game.
Yeah. So this next one, it just needs to happen, and I know that there's rumors and stuff, but it just needs to be already announced because based on the fact that Metroid Prime 4 is still in development, this means that they gotta introduce the Metroid Prime trilogy, or else people are gonna be playing this as to be like, where are the other games?
Yeah, this one is still on the list, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen anyways. It's so much rumors and like behind the scenes stuff.
And also Metroid Dread is fantastic.
The Prime trilogy is basically confirmed. It's on this list because people are probably going to complain that it's not on the list, but this one's basically confirmed. It's not officially, but it's unofficially confirmed. Right. Everyone knows it.
The other thing, well, that's what we still have to mention it. Again, it goes back to what I was saying. When a franchise comes out with a game and it's very popular, I think back, how about the other games in that franchise?
Yes, and the Switch is great for ports and remakes. Next game, It Takes Two. That is an indie game, right?
Yeah. So, no, because I think it was published by EA.
Oh, okay. So it's EA. Whoops.
So it won a Game of the Year last year, and based on when it was announced and such, and I was looking at it, I was thinking, that I feel like that could be on the Switch.
That is true. It's very Switch. It's very indie. It looks indie, but it's not indie. But it has that like that gimmick. You know what? Certain games have a lot of indie games have a specific gimmick that they run on. And it's kind of simplistic, and there's puzzles and stuff, but like, it's made by EA.
Yeah, this one is an online game, so it could use the.
It's meant to be played as multiplayer.
So that means that the Nintendo Switch Online.
That's true. It'll get people to pay the online subscription.
There we go. So I think that the developers are indie studio. It's like studios and published by EA. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay, but yeah, that would be a great Switch game. Co-op or online, it's perfect multiplayer experience with another person. So yeah, great. Definitely would be a great addition for the Switch.
Yeah, that could work.
Next one is the Pokemon GameCube games, X-Day Gale Darkness and Colosseum. Now, hear me out, guys. Pokemon Go introduced Shadow Pokemon. Where do Shadow Pokemon come from? Well, Zoomers, in the GameCube era, there was these Pokemon games that were spin-offs, but they kind of like the production value, and they were kind of felt like main series in a sense, but they were spin-offs because they were not part of the. It was part of Gen 3. All the battles in the games were double battles. Shadow Pokemon were introduced in these games, and these games had like a story mode, which is like felt like a main series a little bit, and then the Coliseum mode, Battle Simulator mode, which is what the Battle Simulator stuff, which we hadn't had one for the Switch. So bringing back Exegate of Darkness or Colosseum or both will be really good in terms of the lore because of the shadow Pokemon on Pokemon Go.
Well, that, and don't forget, Pokemon had the Shadow Mewtwo. So I'm saying, but they're not from just out of thin air. So
yeah, it comes from somewhere, and we should get one of these games at least.
Yeah, we should. The first one, yeah, they were both on the GameCube, right?
Yeah. Or some kind of duo collection type thing would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Or a remake of one and then remake of the other, kind of like what Explorers, Mystery Dungeon did.
I know that part of the reason they might not want to do it is just because they were darker games in comparison to like.
That is true. That is true.
They were just going for like a different take on.
Yeah, that was during the edgy era of Nintendo. Yes.
It really was, especially because again, going back to the GameCube days. So maybe that's why they kind of just left them there.
But another game on the list, surprisingly, are battle simulators in the style of Pokemon Stadium. This is a similar vein of what I talked about earlier, but specifically a battle stadium game. Doesn't have to be Pokemon Stadiums 1 and 2. We're not saying that. Even though it could happen because Nintendo Switch Online has Nintendo 64. That game will just be a disaster to port. But a stadium game on its own, maybe Stadium 3 or Stadium Deluxe with modern graphics and mechanics, could be great if they don't want to go the Coliseum route. A stadium game that's a battle simulator or any form of battle simulator will be great.
Yeah, because the last time we got a battle simulator was Gen 4. Best Gen.
On the Wii, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we really need a new one.
Yeah, I think 3 should be a mix of Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, but with modern mechanics.
And the new Pokemon.
Because, Gen 1 and Gen 2 are still the most popular, like, nostalgia-wise, and will sell well because of that. All the old heads would play it, and the new people would still play it because it's the Pokemon game and has still new, like, mechanics and stuff. And there hasn't been a battle simulator in so long, so fans of both will appreciate it. Will be a good spin-off stand-in for in the middle of for the next games, like they'll usually do that. Next game is Fallout 3 or New Vegas. Now, those are considered like the best ones. People still argue to this day which is the best one, Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. They're both great. They're both Bethesda games. They're both in the same series. Fallout 4, I don't see it being. I don't think it'll run well on the Switch.
But these could probably.
They're much older. This could be ported. They could be modified or remade or ported, whatever.
Because we know that Xbox bought the Bethesda, but doesn't mean that we still can't port them over.
Exactly, because we still have Bethesda games on other systems. It's just when they bought Bethesda's for specific games.
But that's the thing I was wondering about.
It's not the whole catalog. It's like
that's not exactly true because moving forward, I was wondering how they're gonna do it, because as far as I know, Starfield now is gonna be only on Xbox.
Yeah, Starfield, but does that mean that every single Bethesda game is only gonna be on Xbox?
Well,
I doubt that.
That's what I was gonna have to look through to see how they're gonna do that moving forward, if they're just gonna keep it exclusive.
But if Fallout, for example, the old Fallout games,
which are
not included in that list, and they want to port it to other systems, PlayStation, PC. Well, PC is already on PC, but they want to port the old stuff to PlayStation, because PlayStation has like that classics thing, whatever. Sometimes they if you have the online, sometimes they put in old games. Nintendo would be great.
I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, because if down the road they're gonna keep Bethesda stuff exclusive to Xbox, I might lose my mind, because then the meme will die.
Oh, the Skyrim
and Doom.
But hey, we already have Skyrim and Doom on the Switch. So.
No, but about future titles.
Well, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim is the meme one.
Yeah.
We're already going to get the next one, Elder Scrolls 6, and probably is going to be Xbox. Maybe Xbox for release, and then later on the other consoles. But we'll see. We'll see. Next game? Tunic.
So, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure, almost 100% certain that in one of those indie showcases, they showed Tunic being funny and announced to be ported to the Switch, because as far when it was first announced, it's an indie title that looks, it's a cute little fox that looks like it was just out of like The Legend of Zelda. But as at that time it was Xbox exclusive. Going back to while we were talking about Xbox exclusive back to back. But then I remember seeing that it was gonna get ported, and I was like, "That's great," because when you first look at it, it looks like it could be a Switch game.
Yeah. And it was announced to be ported on a Nintendo Indie thing, right?
Yeah, one of those indie showcase things.
And it never did got ported.
Well, not yet. It's just
we didn't get a release date. Or
yeah, we
like
didn't get a release date. So
that was probably going to happen. It's just we just didn't get a date, but hopefully that project.
That's the thing. It's they're like, oh, it's gonna get ported. And then I haven't heard anything about it, and I was like, oh no. And that's why it gets you a bit nervous when you stop hearing about like, oh, this is gonna get ported or something's gonna happen to this, and then after a while, like, what happened? So because I mentioned Tunic and in Legend of Zelda vibes, let's go to the Legend of Zelda.
All right, so this one should be a collection: Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. These are GameCube games that were ported before. One Twilight Princess to the Wii and Wind Waker to the Wii U. Wind Waker is the most obvious one. I think both of them should, but Wind Waker is so obvious because it was already on the Wii U. Wii U games already get ported to Switch anyways, and Wind Waker HD is like will be perfect on Switch. As for Twilight Princess, that one might be a little more complicated, but it's
still possible because it is Skyward Sword. And
it is Skyward Sword, and that one was the least popular Zelda game, so people are surprised that I'm surprised too that one was remade, but not Twilight Princess. So that one is people are still saying there could be a collection type thing with those two games because the art style of those two are so different and they came from the same system. It just would the clash will be so interesting as a duo collection thing. So next one is our quota Silent Hill, a collection of old Silent Hill games for the Switch. That's all we pretty much need. Then they could. I'm pretty sure there might be a new Silent Hill or the PT game that the demo came out for.
I think with the creator is the one who took it off the PlayStation Store or something like that. Something very like weird. Yeah, it was strange.
But yeah, no, bring back Silent Hill with a collection on the Switch would be great.
And then eventually a game.
Eventually a game, but baby steps. Collection will be good.
Yeah, we been hearing about
a collection. Look, a collection has been sold before older consoles. Like collections exist, but for the Switch, we kind of need one. It's just it seems mandatory. We need a horror game for the Switch. Switch has all kinds of games we lack in the horror department and life simulator department. So, yeah.
And of course, again, filling that quota because forever and ever.
Yeah, all the videos we do somehow bring Silent Hill somehow. Next one is Sonic Adventure.
1 and 2.
We have 1 and 2. 2 is like the best one, but Sonic Adventure coming back in some way is the biggest hype for Sonic fans. That was the golden age. The Sonic Adventure and then like the 2D advanced stuff and like I don't know that cool GBA GameCube mix, but GBA for the Switch Online is going to come out anyways, and we might end up getting Sonic Advance anyways. But what we really need is the Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 to come back.
Yeah, because it was Dreamcast, GameCube, PS3, 360, Windows, and come to the Switch.
Yeah. I mean, look, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle with the chows and stuff, that was pure hype. That was insane. That like all the memes come from that one game. The cutscenes, like the awkward cutscenes, but like they were cool at the time. Now they're awkward. It just all that glory, like early 3D kind of like awkwardness needs to come back, man. It was so much fun.
That and also
the edginess of Shadow. It's just all of it needs to come back.
Yeah, that and especially because we're gonna get Frontiers, and every time I keep saying this, if we get Frontiers and it does well, bring more of the games of that franchise to the Switch. It's just a thing I keep saying.
Yeah, Nintendo usually does that anyways.
Yeah, The last one on our list is, interesting enough, Berserk. Berserk is a legendary series by Kentaro Miura. Rest in peace. And as far as I know, I was looking into it, there was only 3 games that came out for that series, video games. The first one is, as far as I know, stuck to the Dreamcast back in '99. But the one we're gonna be talking about is the third and final game for
PS4.
For that one, which came out in 2017 or 2016, 2017, called Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. It seems like there was, I think out of the 3, there was the one that was, because the games themselves were like, they were
anime games are usually hit or miss.
Yeah, exactly. So they were like more like this mid, yeah. This one was also a warrior style game, Okamuso games. You know those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that. Yeah, it came out for the PS3, PS4, Windows, and Vita.
That'll be a good one.
That would be, because it was.
I could see it. I mean, it might not sell for full price, but it probably could, because anime games usually are put in the eShop, get a trailer, but not really like that hyped up. Like Demon Slayer, great show. The game's probably like.
Yeah, because the game only covers... Yeah, the Demon Slayer game only covers like the first season.
Yeah.
I think part of the movie or something.
Exactly. So, and anime games are not usually like super complex or like that.
Because they tend to be really only like fighting game style.
Yeah, there's not much going on, but Berserk, because of the recent passing of the creator, out of respect, would be a great, way to respect the
Well, no, the
franchise,
I was gonna say
would be to port it to.
Well, yeah, because we want more people to be playing this, especially because this particular game is a bit hard to find, kind of, because I don't really see it too many places. I remember there was one that was like really looking for it. They went to, when I was working at GameStop, they asked about it. We didn't have it, so I remember I sent them to Brooklyn Arcade Games, and they also didn't have it at the time.
Wow.
So it's slightly rare.
That sucks, man. That's just why certain games, man, should be put on social, be easily accessible.
That's why I keep saying, because it's about
hell, maybe even put it on the PS5, because that way it'll be
yeah, you're right.
It'll be accessible, because there's just certain
too.
games, man, that aren't as accessible anymore.
Well, I wouldn't say because the part where it's going to be for preservation, but it's more about that games get stuck in a certain, like...
And then it ends up becoming a preservation thing, because if it gets stuck on a certain system, you're not going to see it for years, and sometimes it gets lost in obscurity or impossible to find. And now you're like, Indiana Jones... Indiana Jonesing this game, certain games, and it ends up being
like today when you were looking for Wild World.
Yeah, I was looking for Animal Crossing Wild World, and it was like nowhere to be found. That was interesting. So, yeah, that's our list of games that should be ported, remade, whatever, into the Switch. Some might. This video,
I would love to do
might end up being poorly aged, in the sense that some games might end up already being ported or rebooted or
we definitely should do a follow-up.
Yeah.
After this, when a few months to a year passes and we look back and we see what actually comes out, we should do a follow-up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting, like a follow-up video of the stuff in the list that they get confirmed.
Yeah. Now keep the list.
Most likely Metroid and Explorers. I think those are the next in the block.
Yeah. The other reason why I keep saying about these games get ported over to the Switch is because the Switch is hot and it sells. And most of the time where a game gets ported over, put into the Switch,
it gets a lot more recognition. Yes.
It will sell. That's why I also mentioned Berserk last, because
for example, like F-Zero has not been talked about in ages. Now it's put on the Nintendo 64 Online, and now F-Zero's back in the conversation. So F-Zero's always trending, and then you check and it's nothing. But now we get a little bit of F-Zero content. We might get a real game this time because of the love of F-Zero and the fact that at least it came back in some way. Now we should get a real F-Zero game soon. Hopefully.
Yeah,
I will play
because
it.
it's really sad to think about franchises, mascots, um, certain titles that just end up being stuck to one generation in time, one console, one handheld, and just there forever.
Yeah. Well, that's been it. Thanks for watching, guys, and
Yeah.
have a good night.
Have a good night.